MD. It is my esteemed pleasure to introduce to you the person who slayed the giant, none other than Wanda Wallace. I've had the pleasure of meeting her for the very first time in Tampa. But for those of you who have not had that pleasure, I'm going to turn this over to Wanda so she can briefly tell you about yourself, how long she's been with Five Links, and such. Wanda?
Yes, hello everyone. Good morning. Again, my name is Wanda Wallace. I'm the president and owner of Employment Solutions Staffing, Inc., as well as I'm a national director for Five Links. I've been in the business for about 4 years. Have really learned so much from the Five Links business. I think I started out when I first started. I made ND in like 45 days. I didn't know exactly what was going on, but I started moving forth and building my team. And from there, I just kind of started learning different products and services that Five Links had to offer, and ended up falling in love with the medical part of it because I had to learn that piece in order for me to be able to help my staffing company. So very excited to be a part of Five Links.
Okay, Wanda. Could you explain how you came across the Real Big Deal?
Sure. Back in September, I was consulting with different staffing companies, and I was asked by a particular staffing company in the California area if I could come out and kind of look at their offices and see, do an analysis of kind of what was going on with their business. So in October of 2014, I went out and started looking at their overall business. The first thing that I discovered is that they were not ACA or Obamacare certified or qualified, basically. So I was kind of going through the records to try to figure it out, and I started my research, and I thought, wow, they had over 1,400 employees, and I was concerned that they were not going to meet the certification, and they would be stuck with over $3 million worth of fees. So I tried to decide, okay, what should I do? And I had been talking to Jerry DeLucio and David Coffey about some other things with the enhanced care and medical. So I called them up and explained to them my situation. Basically, we had a 30 to 60-day deadline to get them qualified, or the penalties would have started. So what they did was they had me get a census from the company for all of their full-time employees that were eligible, that needed to be covered by the Obamacare. Then we talked about how the smart choices would help us monitor employees who rejected our company's insurance and went straight to the exchange. So what we did was I did the census of all the employees, sent it into Enhanced Care Med to Jerry and Dave, and they actually took it out to the market and got a quote from their brokers to see if we could go ahead and get them covered. I was very happy to inform that they were able to get me a wonderful health care plan that would get them out of most of the penalty, and then with the smart choices it would help us cover the rest of the penalty for people not being insured. At the time when I did the deal, I had no idea really what was going on, and I tell everybody I give all kudos and credits to God, because there's no way I could have figured this out. It was just kind of at the right place at the right time. I still didn't get it, but we kind of put it together, and then about 2 weeks after that I got a call and was told by my upline that I had closed one of the largest deals in Five Links history. It still didn't dawn on me, but I was just like, oh wow, I'm still not getting this, but I'm going to continue to move on. So again, I'm happy to say that this was a wonderful experience.
So Wanda, you mentioned not being Affordable Care Act compliant. Could you explain that for the audience a little bit, please?
Sure. I'm going to give you kind of two versions. For the company's sake, what happens is, as of 2015, the employer has to share the responsibility and generally making sure that every full-time employee that is actually on their rolls have some sort of health care coverage. If that does not happen, the employee can be fined or penalized by the IRS $2,000 per person. So you can imagine that could be tragic to a lot of small and mid-sized businesses to offer the affordable health care and not be in compliance. And they have to pay this fine every month until they become compliant. Also, if the company has insurance, but the employee ends up going out to what we call the Obamacare exchange, and they buy insurance, but they're not still, their insurance company didn't provide them what was needed as far as preventative care, they could get fined $3,000. So for a company, that's a lot of money. On the individual side, as of 2014, everybody in the United States has to have some sort of health care coverage. It could be with the Obamacare, or it could be the exchange, it could be with their employees, but everyone has to have insurance. The first year, for 2015, they could find a maximum of $975 per family. In 2016, it could go up to anywhere from $695 to $2,000 in fines if you're not covered. So this is a very, very serious thing that can happen if companies or employees are not covered by the Obamacare.
So, Wanda, it sounds like you really piqued their interest when you start talking about them avoiding all those fines. So at that point, what was Enhanced Care's role, the management team?
Basically, what they did were they were kind of like my team of brokers. They looked at the whole situation. They walked me from point A to point B to make sure that I was getting the right coverage. They found 2 or 3 options for the company to adhere to. They looked at all of the policies to find out how much they would be fined, and then they did an analysis of all of their census of employees as well as what the cost would be. So the greatest thing about this is that I wasn't alone. I didn't have to do it by myself. 5 Links Enhanced Care just stepped in, and they were able to kind of be like coaches for me to walk me through the process. Once we got all of the figures back for the company, they even got on conference calls with me and the company to make sure that I was telling them the right thing. And I was so grateful because I know a lot about this, but not enough to talk to people about what the ramifications would be. So they were great.
Yeah, I think you were spot on with that assessment. They are great. Actually, I call them the foremost experts for enhanced care in the world, which they are. So it's good to have that at your disposal. So Wanda, lastly, if you were to give advice to the reps like yourself, what would you say to them if they want to slay the giant like you did? What advice would you give them?
First of all, I think what I would do if you're going to be in this arena and try to sell the product is learn the penalties and learn what the health care reform is really about. You can go on the irs.gov site, and they have many forms that you can learn, and you don't have to know everything, but the biggest thing is the penalties, because I think this is how I sold the deal, is to educate the companies and employees that if you don't have health care, it's going to be costly. The next thing is, if you have a deal that you want to close, do not try to sell it yourself. Call that customer service line that they have for Enhanced Care Med. Talk to one of the representatives. They are brokers and they understand the law 100%. But don't try to go in there and do it yourself, because if I didn't have the help that I had, I don't think I would have been able to close the deal, because the healthcare right now, things are changing so rapidly. These brokers, that's what they study for. They know what to do as far as how the penalties work, how to go out and shop insurance. We're not healthcare brokers, so again, we're not allowed to do that. But Enhanced Care Med has provided this wonderful tool for us to be able to help individuals and companies. So my advice is to please make sure before you start doing anything, you call that in 5 Links Enhanced Care Med line and explain them your situation and let them help you. That's what it's there for.
Okay, outstanding. Wanda, Now, post deal, are there any responsibilities that you have as a rep to your client?
Yes, it is. Once the deal was closed, I had to then go out to my client and their clients and explain the program to them and the employees. And then I was also responsible, because this is a staffing agency, every time they get new employees in, I have to make sure that they have the right material and they have the information needed to add on new employees. So you're kind of staying in contact with your client throughout this whole process. Some people have open enrollment where it's only done once a year. In my case, their open enrollment was every 60 days, so I have to make sure that I'm giving them the correct information for their new employees, getting them signed up, working through Enhanced Care Med. The wonderful thing about it is that they have a back office program that really helps you navigate through this system. But yes, you do have to stay in contact with your client.
Okay, great. Actually, that's all the questions I have for Wanda, but don't go anywhere because we're
Okay.
going to open questions to the field.
Okay.
Okay, I've got a question for you, Wanda. This one's kind of general, and it asks, how long have you been with Five Links, and what challenges have you had?
Oh, good question. I've been with Five Links for about 4 years. The challenges that I had is to find my niche. I tried selling everything from the Global Links phones to the text alerts, and I just didn't feel like I had a niche in that. Being just a normal person, just like everybody else, I didn't understand, and I'm still learning as it goes. But one of the things I think that I've learned through this whole process is that you're not in this by yourself. That's why they have the regionals and the nationals and PBRs, and you have your uplines that can kind of move you through the process. But the main point I want for everybody to know is that find your niche. I know I tried to sell everything and I wasn't good at anything. So what I did was I got something that was passionate for me in Five Links that I know if I just did the one thing and I kept perfecting it, eventually it would turn into money, and it did.
Okay, keep the questions coming. Okay, Wanda. What kind of businesses should you approach to see if they have or don't have insurance?
To me, any business that has over 50 employees you want to approach, it really does not matter what niche it's in, because unfortunately for us, which is beautiful, everybody has to have this, whether you're a business or an individual. So it really is no different of a category that you should approach. You should talk to everybody that you know that owns a business. And even if they don't own a business, even individuals, because again, everybody has to have health insurance. So the market is just wide open.
Okay, this question might be more suitable for me, and I'll try my hand at it. The question is, there's been a looseness of words in the meanings. Healthcare and healthcare insurance. Enhanced care fits where? Well, actually, number one, we should make this perfectly clear. Smart Choices is not health insurance. What it does, it augments your health insurance. The value proposition for Smart Choices is that it gives you the opportunity to go into the once you become a member, it gives you the opportunity to go into the exchange, and because you have Smart Choices, you can select a lower tiered energy plan. Energy plan. I'm thinking energy. That's my other product. Insurance plan. Typically, they default you to what's called silver tiered plans, and it comes at an increased cost. But because you have Smart Choices, you can feel secure and choose a bronze tiered plan, which is at a lower price point. I hope that was clear. Okay, Wanda, back to you. How long did the entire process take?
Whew, okay, I'm going to say probably about 3 months, because I started on the process Well, in our case, it was kind of rushed because they were the clock was ticking for them. But it normally takes anywhere from between 30 days to it could be up to 3 months, depending on how many employees you have, what companies you have, what plans they take. So I'm going to say anywhere from 30 days to 3 months it could take to do a deal like this.
Okay. Okay, bear with us 1 minute. We're 1 moment. We're getting our questions together here. Okay. Okay, what was the process for you finding your niche?
What I did, because I own a staffing agency, I kind of knew that the healthcare industry, the Obamacare was coming. I've been studying this for about 3 years, and it was important to me to do that because it was going to affect my business. And so when I found out that they had the enhanced care med, I kind of got excited because I thought, well, this is some of the benefits I could roll out to my staffing people as well as my companies. But when I really got excited is when we came up with the exchange, our own private exchange, because I knew that that was going to be something that was going to push my business over. Now, again, I never in my life thought I would close a big deal. I just thought that I would be able to kind of work this process because it kind of worked in line with what I was already doing, and I had a passion for healthcare. One of the places I place in is healthcare, so it kind of worked as a passion for me. But I think, when I talk to people about 5LINKs, again, I always tell them, I started off part-time and I wanted something that I could parallel with what I was already doing because that was a way for me to continue to keeping my warm market. So, again, it really depends on which products and services that you're good at. Some people can sell everything because they may have clients or families that need, internet. And I use all the products, because to me, you can't be in a business if you don't know what your products do. Example, Enhanced Care Med. I just used it 3 days ago. I have insurance, but I didn't want to take off time from work to try to go and spend 2 hours, in a hospital or in the doctor's office. So I said, this is a good way for me to try it. And now I can share it with you guys to let you know that it works because I tried it. And it's an excellent product. Instead of me taking 3 to 4 hours out of my day, it took 5 minutes. And that was exactly it. Not only did it take 5 minutes, but I saved almost $200 to $300. I didn't have to pay doctor's visits, get x-rays. I talked to the doctor in 5 minutes. He triaged me, went and got my medication, and that was all about maybe 20 minutes at the most.
Okay. Actually, I've got a question from Pern, and he wants to know, he said that I stated that it augments insurance, and it does, but what could the person do if they don't have anything at all? Well, actually, if you purchase Smart Choices, we do have pre-negotiated deals where you could save money in your health care as a standalone, even if you didn't have insurance. We've got pre-negotiated deals with doctors. We've got pre-negotiated deals with dentists. And also there's your medical savings you have from the pharmaceutical savings that we've pre-negotiated with Walmart pharmacies. I hope that answers your question, Pern. Okay, Wanda, perhaps you can give some advice with this question. This person has Enhanced Care MD Peak cards. What is the exact very best contact information to put under the call today blank portion? Are you familiar with that?
I do know the peak calls, and basically what I normally do is I will put my name and I put my 5LINKs website on there and put the website where the enhanced care med is, because a lot of times people don't know how to navigate through the computer. So if you give them the exact URL to put in there to go to, it'll take them right to the enhanced care med site. The great thing about the site is that it has a question and answer. It goes through all of the things that you need to understand about enhanced care med. And then once you give your P card out, make sure you get their information so that you can follow back up with them. If they don't understand how to navigate through the site, you can help them do that. But make sure you put the URL in there for your smart choices and let them go directly there. Don't just send them to the 5-link site.
Okay, thank you, Wanda. I've got a question. It says, if a business has enrollment once a year, the window is now closed. How would you help them meet the requirements? Actually, if a company already has a group plan, they can change that group plan at any point in time. So there is no such thing as not being able to approach them and try to get them to change their group plan. That's always in play. Okay, Wanda, I think this one might be in your purview. Okay, what literature do you carry, or have you created your own toolbox? What would you say as your opening line to a moderate to large company?
Okay, the first part of the question is the literature that I carry is in your back office. They have some wonderful literature about the enhanced care med, the smart choices, how the exchange works. So I usually kind of print out those. They also have brochures that I use. Now, those are my favorite because it kind of gives an overview quickly on our product. But the first thing that I do when I'm trying to pick a company is I ask 3 questions. The first thing I ask them is, how many employees do you have in your company? The second thing I ask them are, do you have health care? And the third thing I ask them is, are you Obamacare or ACA qualified? Or actually, do you meet the Obamacare or ACA compliance? And then when they ask me, well, what is the compliance? Then I tell them that if you have at least 50 to 100 employees or more, and you're not offering health care coverage to all of your full-time people that are eligible, do you know you can be penalized up to $3,000 a person? And usually that gets their interest.
Yeah, companies are in it to make money. So if you're talking about penalizing them those kind of dollars, yeah, their eyes are going to brighten up.
Exactly.
Wanda, what type of information did your client request from you prior to giving serious consideration to enhanced care? What websites or documents? What did you use to give them prior information before they decided to seriously listen to what you had to say?
In this instance, I was kind of the consultant, so I kind of controlled, what they had. I still had to give them reports and have to give them analysis. But again, normally what I do is once I got a client that is interested, the first thing that you have to do is you really have to get a census, because you won't know, you can't tell them how much it's going to cost or anything until the insurance company or the brokers actually run it through their health care coverages to see which is going to be a good plan. But one of the things that I do, again, is I take my brochures, because the brochures are really geared toward enhanced care med. So my thing is that you want to also sell them on how enhanced care med can actually help with the insurance that they may get. I also really talk a lot about the exchange, because basically what it is instead of having their own employees go out to exchange, they could come up with a self-employed plan where they couple it with enhanced care med and have their own exchange with lower rates. So I talk to them about that. I let them know again that enhanced care med is not a medical plan, but I share my experiences. Like I tell them, a lot of times I can't get off work, or it's taken away from, even my employees' time to have to, go to the doctors and stuff, and to be able to call a nurse or a doctor and be triaged right from their desk, which takes 5 minutes. It really saves the company, because the employee is not gone all day long. So, you have to be able to give them tools of why enhanced care med works for them. Not only that, we have wonderful discounts on prescriptions and just different things that they give. And people don't understand, well, why would I want to pay $49.95? But you can save. Your deductible in some plans can go up to $6,000, so you're still paying that stuff out of pocket anyway. Why not save yourself some money? Take $50 and do it every month, and save yourself some money for some of the office visits or the prescriptions or things that you would have to not pay for if you took the enhanced care med. Because again, they have a alliance with Walmart. Some of the prescriptions are only $4. And I've heard so many stories of people saving on prescriptions and dental and vision. I picked up their vision plan. And the one that my employer was offering, I would have had to pay close to almost $400. With this plan, I paid $200 for 2 glasses. So, the enhanced care med really is a savings plan for companies, and that's how you want to sell it.
Okay, great answer, Wanda. And I think that was a good segue to this next question. Because you have smart choices, or with smart choices, how did you frame the selling point that you can select a lower tiered, those bronze plans that we like to always throw about, as opposed to the silver plan? Did you use that as a selling point?
No, I didn't. For companies as large as small and medium-sized companies, it's very hard for them to afford those type of plans for their employees, because the employee is only required to pay 9.5% of their, say, if they make $10 an hour, they only have to pay 9.5% for the health care. But the employer has to pick up the majority of the cost. So if those plans are running for $200, $300, $400, the employer is paying almost 80%. For small and medium-sized companies, they just can't afford that. Some of them, it would put them out of business. So getting with Enhanced Care Med and the exchange, we found plans which is called minimal essential coverage. And what that does is that gives them all of the preventative services that the Obamacare requires for them to do at a lower rate, because you're paying for it in a group plan with a lot of other people. And it's not your actual health care coverage, but it does fall into where it protects you for the penalties and interest. And so what we did was we coupled the MEC, we call it, is minimal essential coverage plan, with the enhanced care med, so they could get the discounts on the dental and the vision and the prescriptions and the doctors. And then the MEC plan colored everything else, like the preventative coverages that they're having you have to get in order for you to be Obamacare compliant.
Okay, any more questions? Keep them coming if you got questions. Okay, there's a question about with open enrollment about to finish. I hope the person who wrote this question realizes that open enrollment has been extended until April 30th. So you can still sell individuals up until that point. Another part of their question, what do you mean by group plan? When a company selects a plan, they use the leverage of large numbers. If you have a company of, let's say, 50,000 individuals, you're able to select a plan based on the size of your group. And insurance companies, they do a lot of actuarial science where they use a lot of calculus and things of that sort to find out the exposure. And so with that, that's the group plan that I mentioned earlier. And if a company does it, if they are part of a group plan, you can always try to get them to choose another service offering, although it'd probably be difficult simply because they don't want to spend all their time selecting different insurances multiple times a year, but you can always sell them if they have a group plan. I hope that was clear. Okay. Okay, this question, for those of us who have insurance, medical, dental, vision through our full-time employers, how do we take advantage of Smart Choices, Enhanced Care, MD, etc.? Well, Smart Choices as a standalone, it has some attributes that could save you money. Wanda mentioned the pre-negotiated rates that we've negotiated with Walmart's pharmacy. Um, Oftentimes, companies they push you towards the high deductible plans, and so they're not paying anything until you reach that threshold. And so with Smart Choices, you have access to doctors 24/7. So hopefully you'll never reach that threshold because instead of making the full payment that you shell out yourself, you're making a much cheaper payment by just talking to your doctor on the phone at a much reduced rate, $15 or $5 if it's a nurse. That's a far cry than the $200 and $300 a pop that you'd be paying if you talk to your doctor face to face by going into his office. Okay, what if a company has insurance for their employees? What can you say to get them interested in switching to enhanced care smart choices? Well, if you can save that company money, you'll get their attention. Companies are profit maximizers, and so you can either do that by raising the revenue line. We have no insight to that, but we certainly can help them with expenses. And so, if our option is a better option that saves them money, you get their attention. Okay.
Hey, Keith,
Yes.
I wanted to say this is, I'm looking at the questions, and one of the young ladies asked, so you're saying that you can be compliant with just the Smart Choices bundle. And I wanted to talk about that a little bit because they get confused with this, and I don't want anybody to find out at the end at the tax time that they end up in penalty. The Smart Choice bundle is not a medical plan. It's a discount savings program, but we do have a medical piece of it where we have doctors and nurses that you can talk to. They included the exchange if you're a Smart Choice member so you can choose coverage. But please, please understand, the Smart Choices is not Obamacare coverage. So you will still be penalized if you do not choose a medical coverage. The difference in our plan is that they allow you to go into a private exchange instead of the Obamacare exchange, and I've noticed that our rates are a little bit cheaper than what you're going to get out there in the Obamacare exchange because, again, as Keith said, they're pushing you toward the silver plan, and that's for some people extremely expensive. Where you may be paying $300-400 for that plan, you come over to our private exchange, and you may be able to get it, $200 cheaper. So again, please note that the Obamacare, the Enhanced Care Med, is not Obama certified medical coverage. It's just a discount plan with doctors and nurses that provide some medical for you to help you with your medical needs.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up, Juan. That's really vital. Don't make that
Yes.
mistake.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, keep your questions coming, folks. Um,
I
oh,
think I see another one. Do you see another one here? I think someone's asking about a sample link that we can send prospective customers to order to see what type of health insurance they would be available for. That's an excellent question because a lot of people, they don't want to hear what you say. They want to be able to see material. The only drawback is that they have to sign up for Smart Choices in order to see our exchange. And the great thing that I noticed, and again, that's why I tell everybody, all of you guys who are trying to sell the coverage or sell the enhanced care, please sign up for it and go through the whole thing, because it really gives you an insight on what goes on. What I did is I signed up for the Smart Choices, and they give you a portal when it's open enrollment season where you can go and you can analyze what type of medical coverage you get. What they do is they have you put your information. If you have any health problems, I put my age in there. If I had kids, I put that in there. And then what it does, it gives you a comparison of about 3 or 4 different healthcare products that you can choose from. You don't get that on the Obamacare exchange. I was really excited because it gave me graphics of if I paid this, how much I would be spending. It was just very easy to go in and use the program. When I tried to sign up for Obamacare with myself a couple years ago, I was so confused I actually had to have one of my representatives who was a broker help me, because they didn't really explain anything to me. But the nice thing about our exchange, they give you so many tools that you can do. You can call a number, get a customer service rep. They can walk you through the process. If you don't understand about the coverages, they talk to you about it. I mean, it is an outstanding program, and believe you me, I've been on several. I've been on the Obamacare exchange. It's nothing like what we have. You know, we are really in a wonderful position with our software and 5 links and this enhanced care med. I have to just tell y'all that, and I'm not an expert, but I can tell you I've used it, and it works.
Do you know, Wanda, after you already answered the question, someone else still has that question about smart choices and if it can replace an existing expensive health insurance. Again, you know, we can't reiterate enough that smart choices is not insurance. It cannot replace your insurance plan. What it can do, it can augment or supplement your insurance plan, meaning that, again, oftentimes they have you go to these high-tiered deductibles, and most of us will never reach that deductible, so the insurance will really never kick in. But having smart choices, instead of going to the doctor, you can pick up the phone, call the doctor, tell him your symptoms, and he or she can write you a prescription right then and there, so you avoid the cost, you forego the cost of having to actually visit the doctor, and you save money that way. So, but no, by no stretch of the imagination can smart choices replace your existing health insurance. Okay. This question for small businesses under 30 employees, once open enrollment ends, are they able to still sign up if they don't fall under the qualifications for a group plan? Well, first, if you have a small company, you are not mandated to get insurance. The mandate only, that's only for companies with 100 plus employees. So anything under 100, at least for this year, you don't fall subject to those exorbitant fines.
Hey, Keith, I just wanted to piggyback on your question. You're correctly right. Right now, for this year, they're only targeting companies with 100 or more employees. But next year, if you have 50 or more, you are going to also be penalized as well. So to understand this, anybody with under 50 employees will not have to worry about the Obamacare. But if you have 50 or more employees, starting next year, you will be penalized as well. So it's good to start now. Open enrollment usually starts in October, and it usually goes until February, sometimes March. They extended it this year. But if you're going to get companies, it's good to start now to start preparing them for 2016, because again, they need to, it takes time, and especially when a lot of people are calling in. I think what we faced this year was because it was new, a lot of the insurance companies were so jammed up that we couldn't get approvals for a lot of people, and that's why I was so grateful to Jerry DeLucio and David Coffey, because they were able to, because they have relationships with brokers, to be able to get deals for us closed, where if we tried to go and to talk to a regular broker, to the regular stuff like Blue Cross Blue Shield or whatever, we would have missed the deadline. So this is the best time right now to start in preparing your companies, if you have companies or people that you know may need it for next year, because it gives you a plenty enough time to get their plans done for next year.
One, actually, I see a good question that perhaps you could field, and Linda Ransom asks, how did you find a decision maker at the company to speak with?
Okay, good question. Usually your decision maker is either going to be your benefits person or your HR person. Now again, I'm going to tell you, just because I want to be upfront with you, sometimes or most times it's very hard to get into an HR person if they don't know who you are, or they've never spoke with you before, because you got to understand they're getting calls from a lot of people. So I get a lot of my information from the receptionist. I'll say, well, who's in your HR department, and I know they're busy. Can I get her email address, to be able to email some information, or a fax number? Because 95% of the time, HR people are not going to call you back. But a lot of times, if you send faxes or you send emails to them personally, most of the time they look at the emails. Now in the case, if you know somebody that works at a company, that's close to the HR, let them be your point person. Say, hey, I have a wonderful, product that I would like to put to your company. Talk to them, share the product with them, and then let them kind of be your point person to getting to a person. But to just get a company and call an HR person, you're probably not going to get callbacks. Use your media. I mean, email, faxes, to me, those work the best in trying to get to the decision maker.
Okay. Actually, there's another question. Joseph Grooms asked, when approaching a business, should you say it's health insurance or a health supplement? Actually, if you want to be 100% honest, and we do, you'd say that it's health supplement.
And to piggyback off of that as well, Keith, when you're approaching a company, we do have brokers in our exchange that have health insurance. So we do have bona fide health insurance. So I always don't start with the smart choice. I really start with our exchange and the health insurance, and then I put the smart choices kind of on the back end of other monies that they can save. But we do have brokers for our exchange that do actually have health insurance.
Okay, Wanda, perhaps you can help me with this one. If somebody already signed up through the regular marketplace for an Obamacare plan, can we somehow switch them into our portal? And if so, what's the best course of action?
Okay. I would not recommend that, because once they've signed up of the Obamacare plan, they're basically kind of being monitored because they're getting tax credits. So what I usually would do, if I had somebody that done that and they just signed up and they've been on for a couple of months, what I would do is say, hey, look, for next year, or in October, like for now, in October, I think I may have prices that could be a little more reasonable for you. So when you're ready to sign up, please call me. But I really don't like to switch them if they've already done the Obamacare, because it's a lot of work getting through Obamacare and trying to get that signed up. And usually most of the people that are going through Obamacare, the only time I would switch them if their prices is so high and they're saying I can't afford it. But other than that, if they can afford it and they got a subsidy, I really don't try to get them to get out of the Obamacare, because they got to do this every year. They have a choice. Every year they can switch to whatever they want.
Okay, Madej Brown asks, can the medicine prescription be placed only at Walmart? The answer to that is yes. That's the only company that we've got this pre-negotiated contract with. So, yeah, Walmart Pharmacy is the only pharmacy that we're contracted with. name this one. Is the exchange a list of health insurance coverage companies to choose from based on one's health needs?
Okay, are they saying is the exchange, say that question again? I missed that one.
Okay, is the exchange a list of health insurance coverage companies to choose from based on one's health needs?
No, with the exchange for our exchange, they allow you to be able to choose different companies based on what your health is. But when you're going to a medical company, because they can no longer discriminate, every healthcare coverage has to take you. Where the underlining thing is how much you're going to pay and what your deductibles are. But say, for instance, if you have a pre-existing condition, say you have high blood pressure or whatever the case may be, no insurance company now with this new law can turn you down. So you could take any insurance that you want that's listed on the exchange, either from our private exchange or the Obamacare exchange. I think that hopefully answered the question.
Okay. Okay, this person wants to know, and I'll let you field this one, Wanda.
Okay.
So is it true that all individuals have to have health care?
That is correct. Every single individual in the United States now has to be covered with health care. So the beautiful thing is, can you see the market of how much money that you can make with all of these people have, and they're saying about 28 million people that still haven't gotten coverage yet. So you have a vast amount of marketing that you can do for your business being a part of the partner with 5 Links.
Okay. Wanda, I've got a good question, and it's going to be the very last question. It's time for us to tie things up. How has this changed your life?
Wow, good question. Yeah, I'm going to be just very candid. When I got into 5 Links, I didn't know anything about multi-level marketing. A good friend of mine's, Janie Pittman, who's national director in the company, introduced me to the business. And when she came to me, I was like, okay, I like making money, so I'm going to try anything pretty much that if it's legal and it's good, that I can make money. But again, I kept having a hard time trying to find my niche. I'm just kind of like you guys, how to figure this out. I'm a good recruiter, but I wanted to understand and be able to sell the different products and services. Being that 5 Links came up with the Smart Choices and their exchange, again, it was a passion for me because I've always had a passion for healthcare. And so doing this deal and being the largest person in the company to close the largest deal, it has really changed my life. Monetarily, excellent. I mean, I'm making more money in 5 Links than I'm making on my job. So, that's one thing. Also, to be able to educate people and have a team of people to back me to do that education is phenomenal. I've always believed in 5 Links, but I needed to see something that I can touch and feel. I didn't come from a place where I made millions of dollars. I was an average person, one paycheck from homelessness, and I would see people get up there and saying, oh, I'm making this money, and I'm like, you know what? I'm trying to do all the steps, but I'm not seeing it. So to do this deal really made me believe that this is a company that do take their representatives and put their representatives first. It also allowed me to know that I could find my niche in this company and I really could make money. So it truly has changed my life. Just to give you a story, I was at the regionals here in California. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. And when I stepped into the room, I went to kind of sit through their PBR. and I just introduced myself, and they had just spoke about me about an hour ago. So the lady looked at me and like, "Are you the one, the Wallace that closed the largest deal?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's me." And they're like, "Oh my God, we want you to speak. Come up and give your testimony." And people were just hugging me and saying, "You're just like me, your encouragement." So for me, I believe that God truly gave me a tool, because I'm always trying to encourage, but now I can believe it and speak it because I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the financial gain. I'm seeing it, what it does, what this company does, and the support they give you. So I'm truly a 5-linkser, if you want to call me. I'm in.
Yours is truly a great story, Wanda. Do you have any closing remarks you'd like to make?
I just want to, first of all, thank the co-founders for allowing me to be a part of this wonderful company. William Facette, he has been a real tool in helping me, navigate through this, because, of course, when you're a pioneer and you've done something the first time, there's going to be some kinks and things that are going to come out of it. So I want to thank them. I would definitely like to thank, I could not even do this without my Platinum SVP, John and Patrice Jones, my Double Platinum, Marshall Forson, SVP, Levi Bias, my National Director, Janie Pittman, just the backbone and the love of my life, ED, Douglas Thornton, and all of my teammates. And I don't want to forget the Enhanced Care Med team, because without Jerry and David, this wouldn't have been possible. And again, I just thank God for allowing me to be a part of a great company. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Wanda. And all you folks out there, thanks for tuning in. This will be housed on YouTube. So if you want to send it to people who unfortunately couldn't make it, feel free. And again, my name's Keith Adams. I'm signing off. Hope to see you again soon. Happy selling.
Thank you.